I've always been a fan of antiques. There's something about the history and stories behind old items that fascinates me. So when I moved into my new apartment, I decided to browse Craigslist for some antique pieces to decorate my place. That's when I stumbled upon an ad for an antique mirror. The seller had posted a blurry photo, but from what I could make out, it had an ornate wooden frame and the price was surprisingly low. I messaged the seller and we agreed to meet at his place the next day. The address he gave me was in a part of town I wasn't familiar with, but I was too excited about the mirror to give it much thought. When I arrived, the house looked abandoned. The paint was peeling, the windows were boarded up, and the lawn was overgrown. I hesitated for a moment, wondering if I had the right address. But when the front door creaked open and a man stepped out, he was tall, with unkempt hairs and a scruffy beard. His clothes looked like they hadn't been washed in weeks. "You are here for the mirror?" he asked. His voice was raspy. I nodded, trying to hide my unease. He led me inside, and the interior of the house was as dilapidated as the outside. The air was musty, and there was a strange metallic smell that I couldn't place. He showed me the mirror, and it was even more beautiful in person. The frame was intricately carved, and the glass was spotless. I was so captivated by it that I ignored the red flags and handed over the cash. As I was leaving, the man said, "Be careful with that mirror. It's got a history." I laughed it off, thinking he was just trying to add to the allure of the antique. But when I got home and hung the mirror in my bedroom, things started to get weird. Every night, I'd wake up to the sound of whispering. At first, I thought it was just my imagination, but then I realized it was coming from the direction of the mirror. And when I looked into it, I see fleeting images of people I didn't recognize, their faces twisted in pain and fear. I tried to convince myself it was just a trick of the light or my mind's playing tricks on me. But one night, I woke up to find a figure standing at the foot of my bed. Its reflection was visible in the mirror. It was the man from the house, but his eyes were hollow and his skin was pale and translucent. I screamed and blinked, and he was gone. But the whispering continued, growing louder and more insistent. I couldn't take it anymore and decided to get rid of the mirror. I tried to sell it, but no one was interested. I even tried to give it away, but it always found its way back to me. Desperate, I smashed it into pieces and threw it away. But even now, I still hear the whispering. And sometimes, when I close my eyes, I see the man's face, watching me.